Okay, we have Gabrielle Fox here, who is a very interesting woman. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for people that don't know, explain what you do now.
So currently I work for a financial firm, Croft Enterprises. I have a great boss, very grateful. I transitioned from different positions in hospitality to working for this firm. I've had other like, office corporate type jobs before, on and off, probably throughout my 20s, but never one that I felt comfortable in and gives me the flexibility that I want. It's a great firm. What they do, they provide value beyond, let's say, a typical financial CPA firm. So they're value based instead of just here, give us this amount of money. Let's do your taxes. Let's do your bookkeeping. This is a result you get. Deal with it, and it's just data entry. Our company is just more value based, so our clients are um, happier at the end with the results, and it's different. It's taught me a lot about money, a lot about finances, working for them. I've helped them, sort of get more organized. That's kind of my shtick, or my strength is efficiency and organization, working out kinks. So that's what I currently do now.
Now, when you say you worked in the hospitality
hmm
industry, what do you mean hospitality industry?
Bartending, waitressing, cocktailing, everything.
Oh, so you went through all that.
Oh yeah, throughout my 20s. Yeah.
And then how did you get into Croft? Because they're out of Chicago. I read that from your website. And
So
what's your website?
my website,
Yeah,
gabbyfox.com.
yeah. There's a
It's
lot of interesting stuff on there.
yeah, it hasn't been updated too recently, and I haven't been active on it because I've been making some changes, some different going in some different directions. So I now that you've put me on the spot with my website, I'm gonna have to go update it.
And it's still good though. I mean, I
Yeah.
printed out. I mean, when you came in before we started, I mean, I
Mhm.
read all the pages and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is some good stuff. Because I had anxiety for a long time.
hmm
So now you have a psychology degree too, right?
Yes.
So when you say like when you run into somebody who has anxiety
Mm-hmm.
and you say pills aren't the answer or
Mm-hmm.
medication is the answer, that the brain wasn't made of pills,
Right.
right? How do you when somebody has an anxiety attack?
Mm-hmm.
They usually go to the doctor, they get Klonopin,
Right.
Xanax, whatever it may be.
Worst thing ever.
Okay. Now, how would you deal with that from your point of view?
So, when I was young, I had some experiences with family members that had anxiety. My mother, for one, and watching her go to doctors and being prescribed pills, and then also, her self-medicating with alcohol, which a lot of people with anxiety do. I think it's 1 out of 3 people in our society now has some form of anxiety. It's a huge number. So I watched that. Wasn't quite sure what direction I wanted to go when I was 18, kind of had a tumultuous like childhood. And then I realized at the ripe old age of 28 that I really wanted to understand how the brain worked and how people work, because all my life I had seen all of these different struggles within myself and other people, in relationships, friendships, you name it, family. So I went and got my psychology degree, and I knew I didn't want to be a traditional therapist. I've always been sort of a black sheep when it comes to work, when it comes to, the 9 to 5 grind thing. And I knew I wanted to make a difference on a bigger scale than just maybe having somebody in my office for an hour and they sit on a couch and tell me their problems. So when I started school, and then when I finished school, I had an epiphany. And that was, if I go on further to get licensed as a psychologist by the government, not only am I controlled by the government as far as how I can help people, what I can tell them, what advice I can give, um, but I can't kind of do my own research and come to my own conclusions. And I don't like to be controlled. I'm very I don't know what the word would be, adverse to
Independent,
I'm
kind of in a way?
adverse to authority. I have
Okay.
aversion to authority. Yeah, I always have. Hence why I love my boss now, because he's not like a, he's not a drill sergeant. He knows that I do a good job, and he doesn't ride my ass. So anyway, I realized that online was a big, social media was a place where a lot of people talked about their problems and looked for answers. So I went online and I started researching, different holistic things. Where does anxiety really come from? It usually comes from a response to trauma or like maladaptive behavior. Like if you're,
What does that mean, maladaptive?
it means if your parents have have issues, have emotional issues, mental issues, there's any form of abuse in your home, you will develop maladaptive behavior and anxiety. So maladaptive behavior could be, my maladaptive behavior was I was attracted to toxic people, and I was a people pleaser, and I wanted to fix everybody. And so
Now, is that empathy?
no, that is that comes from a feeling of helplessness when you're a kid and you see, let's say, a parent or someone in your family struggling, and you have to play the parent role even though you're the child. It creates this feeling of responsibility that you shouldn't have. It's almost toxic, and it makes you feel responsible for fixing other people, when in all actuality, no one can fix anyone.
They have to
No
want
one
to
can
fix.
rescue anyone.
Because I had
Yeah.
anxiety for a long time. And I went on the Klonopin and all that, but I had it for, I had it like 15 years. I had it.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
I thought I was dying. I would call my mother and be like, "Mom, I'm dying."
Anxiety attacks feel like heart attacks. So if you go to the ER, they have almost the same symptoms, just not
Yeah, your left arm goes, like
not the
my
same
arm would
not
go
the same
numb.
result. Thankfully, you don't die from an anxiety attack, but I
But
guess
it's
you
hard to
could.
tell the difference because you get shortness of breath, your arm goes numb.
Your chest feels heavy,
Yeah.
you can't breathe.
You're just waiting to die.
Yeah.
I was 18, 19 and not a good guy at the time. And I'm calling my mother. I pull over on the side of the road and I call my mom. I say, "Mom, am I going to be okay?"
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Some people have, I had mild to moderate, and then I would go through sort of these periods in my life where I would go and I would attach myself to someone who was, had those maladaptive behaviors and the toxicity and sort of the needing to be fixed. And then, of course, I'd go through all these horrible highs and lows. And then when I was in the lows, my anxiety was higher. And then when you're with a toxic person, they're telling you there's something wrong with you because you're freaking out. No, you're around a toxic person, it's a normal reaction. So you gotta not only separate yourself from toxic people and realize why you're attracted to them, but you've got to figure out a way of reprogramming your brain and the way you react to certain situations and certain triggers.
See, I didn't have that. So when I got it, it would just come on. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing would be going on, and out of nowhere, it would almost be like a feeling in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew
Your
that.
stomach balls up like a fist.
Is that what it does?
Yeah.
And then I knew right then and there it was just a matter of time. And within 15 minutes, boom.
Yeah.
I'm hit.
See, I never had attacks. Mine would just get to a level that it was, I felt physically just seized up, your insides. They tighten up, and because you're in fight or flight mode. It's scary. It's definitely not comfortable, especially if you're living with it like on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, a lot of people self-medicate because when you drink alcohol, this is a catch-22, sort of devil on your shoulder kind of thing. When you drink, it calms you down. It makes you relaxed. It kind of takes the anxiety away for a minute. But what it also does is, if you have anxiety, That night, you're going to feel great. The next morning, alcohol, I read a couple of studies about this back when I was studying. It actually triggers or enhances your anxiety the next day. So you'll have 3 times on average, 3 times the feeling of anxiety you had before you had drinks.
And it's also a depressant. You know, alcohol is a depressant. So, I mean,
yeah,
you already got the anxiety.
So you're already overstimulated because you have anxiety. Then you bring it down using something that's not really healthy. And then the next morning, you're shot right back up, but your serotonin levels and all that stuff is also low from drinking. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. Believe me, I was in it for a while.
You went through that?
Yeah, I was never like had a drinking problem, but I would drink socially regularly, just to, I don't know. In my mind, it was so I could relax and have fun. But now looking back, it was a lack of true stimulation. I was hanging out with people that they weren't bringing my life to anywhere good. They were just fillers.
Was it like, yeah, people? Like everybody's
it's just those friends that like you have, and they're great. They're nice. They have no bad intentions. They're fillers. They're not, encouraging you to be a better version of yourself. They're not, hey, let's wake up in the morning, let's wake up early tomorrow morning. Let's go do something active, or let's start a business, or let's, elevate our lives in some way. They're party friends. That's what I call
So when
them.
you say a filler, like, what do you mean by a filler?
A party friend.
Because maybe somebody's watching this and they have anxiety and they can't get over it. Actually, I know like a pile of them.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people.
They do drugs, like hardcore drugs, or they're
right.
Xanax, or drinking every night.
If you are constantly using substances, you're escaping from something, or you're just numbing the fact that you're not really where you want to be. So my advice there would be, what is it? You got to really like sit with yourself, when you're not drinking or when you're not taking drugs, and say, why do I feel the need to escape from being fully conscious? Because when you're fully conscious, you're like, that's when you connect the most with other people. That's when you connect the most with yourself. That's when you connect the most with God, if you believe in God. And so if you're trying to lower your consciousness, which that's what drugs and alcohol do, that's not arguable. That's a fact. If you're trying to lower your consciousness or numb your consciousness, ask yourself why. And then realize that you're in the driver's seat. So, I mean, you could blame a million people. You could blame a million different things. But at the end of the day, it's you in the mirror.
Yeah, my problem was, and it took 37 years, 36, 37 years for me to get it. I was insecure, but the type of guy I was, I didn't want to hear that. And I would purposely subconsciously, I would have people around me.
Yep.
So everybody's like, yeah, Tommy, yeah,
gassing
Tommy,
you up.
Gassing me up. Yep. And anybody that would say anything else,
criticize you.
I didn't like.
Yeah.
So I put like terrible people around me, people I should not have been around, for sure. Definitely people I shouldn't have been around. And then, I go to therapy. I go once a week. Stuff for an Italian guy to do, but I go.
It's good.
And it took 5.5 years for him to get to me. 5.5 years. And one day actually what happened was, it's a funny story. Kobe Bryant died. And I used to go watch Kobe all the time.
Yep.
And I don't know what it was with that, but I don't.
Certain people, it really affected them.
But I don't know why that made me start to
open up.
Like open up and say,
life is short.
Life is short. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like what's going on? Then I go back to the therapist, and like he's a cool therapist. He's not like
stuff.
Yeah, I mean he's expensive as Dr. Agressi, shout out. Even though you better have cash because he don't take insurance. He's on Palm Beach Island, but he's good though. And what I realized is that over the years, he would angle me for like the first 30 minutes. So I come in, we talk about politics or business, had nothing to do with any of my problems.
Right.
But I realize now that his move was to get to me.
Well, to
Or
build
comfort.
rapport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm bad with grammar. Working on it.
I forget. I know a lot of words. I forget them in the moment when I'm in conversation all the time. People who went through anything when they were a kid, I'm talking any kind of abandonment, any kind of abuse. It doesn't have to be physical. Saw any kind of abuse, had, shitty communication within their family that was maybe like, you talk down to people, you're condescending, the parents were to the kids, whatever. There's so many different things that affect your brain when you're a kid. And any of those things can cause insecurity. And I would say when I was in my late teens and in my 20s, and even a little bit into my early 30s, I was not the person I am today as far as how I feel about myself.
And what made you change, right? So there's always something that makes you change. Like when I say that Kobe died and it just, I started listening to things that I normally wouldn't have, it sounds kind of weird, but that was kind of my like wake up, right? So when you were going through it, what was your wake up? I mean, something had to have happened or that you experienced that you're like, okay, I need to take a look.
It was a combination of things. One of them was meeting someone and building a friendship with someone, and then now a relationship with someone that was completely different than any relationship or friendship I've ever had. And I would say the second thing was I went through a really traumatic, toxic relationship right before that. And it was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was like the mirror was forced into my face. Like, if you don't stop this pattern, you're going to die.
So without getting too specific, what was so toxic about that relationship?
So I was attracted to narcissistic, pathological sociopaths.
What's it called? Narcissistic
personality disorder.
Personality disorder.
Yeah.
I almost had you.
Yes.
You just beat me again.
It's all right.
I'll get used to it.
I'm the psychologist, right? And
I had one shot to beat her and I just lost.
You might have another one later. Yeah, so I was attracted to that. Didn't even having my degree, didn't fully understand what that was until I went through a relationship. And then here's the really interesting part. Totally, you would think unrelated. When I went through we'll call it my political coming out, where I really had my eyes opened to a lot of things going on in the world and how shit is really run. The same tactics that I used to endure from the toxic exes I had, the same tactics like manipulation, gaslighting, the pathological lying, the making you question your reality kind of thing, even though it's right in front of your eyes, the guilt tripping, the projection, all of those things is something that I noticed, like the media and the left and the establishment, whatever you want to call it, is doing that.
So it all kind of like clicked together that it's all like...
I'm like, this is how they have so many people dependent on this sort of abuse in my eyes, because that's what it felt like when I was in those relationships. Like, I consider myself a fairly intelligent person. I consider myself a good person, always try to do the right thing whenever I was in any friendship or relationship. So I'm like, why do I keep attracting these people, or why are they able to get to me somehow, even though, I say, oh, after the last one, I'll never date someone like that. Well, it's just a different flavor of the same shit.
Right, because you're into that, so that's what you're gonna go to.
So well, it comes from childhood. It comes from, you know, we'll call them daddy issues, mommy issue, any kind of issue, parental issue you can think of, I had it. So I was attracted to
So
this.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but like when you see people like this, do you notice that it's more of a mommy issue or daddy issue, just dealing with it after reading your website, or
It's both.
it really doesn't matter?
It's both.
You would say they're about equal?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Um, the society, the way society's changed, let's say in the last 30 or 40 years, has affected parenting so, we'll say, traumatically and so dramatically that there is a couple of generations. It's not just the young generation now, the 20-year-olds now. It's beyond that. The parents that grew up like in the 60s, in the 70s, and then they had kids, a lot of them were fucked up. And they were under a spell of a lot of different things, and they were being told this is healthy, that's healthy, when it wasn't. They were being told this is truth, this is real, when it wasn't. And then, you know, through movies, through TV, through all of the little propaganda arms that the establishment uses, all the different levels that they have infiltrated in society, that they've sort of polluted with their toxicness, it got into the heads of the parents that parented my generation and the generation right after me. And I've seen it destroy millions of people.
Now, why do you think you don't hear because like a lot of times you'll like watch something or read something like, well, in the 60s we never had this, in the 70s we never had this, the 80s we never had this, but now we have it. So why do you think that, like, from the education that you have, that why now is it like the 60s none of this happened, the 70s none of it happened?
So they were laying the groundwork and doing all of the things behind the scenes in the 60s and 70s. And then the longer it was allowed to go on, and the longer the establishment was allowed to just get more and more and more polluted and more corrupt, now it's blatant. Like, and here's the crazy part. Most self-aware people can see how blatant it is, and they're like, this is insane. But the people who are not self-aware and they're fully indoctrinated, they're fully under the spell, they are soldiers for the establishment. They are angry at regular people for challenging their abuser.
I agree with you.
That's fucking terrifying.
I agree with you. And I was in a situation where I had nobody at the time. And I'm talking through an event. This is a long story. And the guy had blown up an embassy. He was a terrorist, right? I'm talking to him through an event. It was the only person I had to talk to. And I'm there for 9 months. And at first, you look at these people, and I'm not saying he's a good guy, you know what I mean? Right. But I just want your opinion from like psychologist point of view. But then after I listened to him for 9 months sitting there, the only person I had to talk to, I started to understand that he was here now, and he regretted what he did and blowing up all kinds of shit and everything like that. But he was like, you don't understand. When I was born, this is what I was raised to do.
Yes.
I didn't know any better. I didn't know what any other type of life was. And now he got rocked, got a gazillion years. But I started to think, well, if you're born into that environment and that's all you know, it's kind of tough to, after like actually talking to somebody that did that, it's tough for me to sit here across from you or anybody else and be like, well, he's a bad guy, because he's actually not a bad guy. He just was born into a bad environment, and that led to what he did. But he's not a bad guy. I mean, the guy would give you the shirt off his back.
I always say human beings are not born evil. Children are not evil. If you go to some of the more extreme, radical Middle Eastern countries, they teach their children that we, Western civilization, that we're evil, that we want to hurt them, that we are, a tool of evil, of the devil, whatever they believe in, and that it is their job and their God tells them that they need to get rid of us because we're like a parasite or
That's exactly what he was saying to me. He read the Cabal.
Yep.
And then he had like the influences around him. And when he went to church or whatever he went to, it was like, you need to destroy this.
Yes, this evil. So that's what's scary, is that you do have to have empathy and understand, like, I know that even a terrorist, like you said, even Osama bin Laden, even, whoever.
It came from somewhere.
It came, everybody's hatred, everybody's evil came from somewhere. So do I hate them in return? No. But my stance has always been really, really clear. If you exploit, manipulate, hurt, or kill innocent people, and in particular children, I'll do anything to eliminate you. Anything.
And I agree with that. But how would a guy like that, I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? How would he know any better, though?
Right. But that's the thing, is that
so in other words, you're saying if he did it from what he grew up from, that's one thing. But if he knew and then did it, it's another thing.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm a human being. I live on earth. And according to, the Bible, I believe what I believe. Some people might not believe in God or the Bible, but I do. This world is majority run by, the other guy. And if, for example, that guy that you were talking about, he has to atone for whatever he did in this life with God. But if him and I were toe to toe and it was me letting him hurt anyone else,
well, of course,
or me taking him out, then I would take him out.
Yeah, I would too.
Because as another human being wanting to protect other human beings who are, unknowing of the situation and innocent, it's not really, you can't get too deep into it because that's his shit.
Yeah.
He has to atone, when he passes into the next life as a human being that cares about other human beings. If there's a predator, it doesn't matter how they grew up. It doesn't matter what happened to them. It doesn't matter how abused they were. If they turned into a predator themselves, they're fair game for the military, for a patriot, for anyone that just is a protector or is sort of like a shepherd type. And there's a couple different types of people on this planet. Those are the two main types.
No, I agree with you. And the thing was that got me on him, like 5 months into this, he's like, I should have got more time. So like he knew at that point what he did wrong.
He knew he was a monster.
He knew he was a monster. He knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
And
when you're at peace, honestly, when you've done something like that and you're at peace and you make peace with God or whatever you believe in.
Oh, no, believe it or not, this guy, he still has the goatee, right? Now, remember, this guy blew up the embassy.
Right.
But he threw the Kaaba out and he reads the Bible now. You wouldn't fucking believe this. When I tell you, like, a terrorist, you look at him.
I believe
and you have no doubt he's skinny as hell. He still eats like the same way that he eats from where his country is. But he tossed that damn Kaaba.
Yeah.
He's like, but this is what led me into the situation. I mean, we had nothing else to do at the time.
Of course.
But he's reading the Bible and, hopefully he gets forgiveness.
I believe in redemption or second chances. Like,
if it's true,
if
right?
it's true and it's real. And I think some people can have that discernment and they can tell, and some people can't. And unfortunately, in our justice system and all of that, they can't take the chance, you know? And I've known a lot of inmates or prisoners, people that, they're in there basically for life. They end up mentoring other inmates. They end up becoming a pastor sometimes. They end up trying to help who's ever around them in that space and just making the best of the rest of their life.
And they do. And whether you believe in the Bible or not,
Hmm.
it doesn't really matter. You
Right.
know, but guys that I know that got life,
Hmm.
and I had been around them, it was almost like, well, I'm here forever. And then they have to turn to something.
Hmm.
And then they start reading, whatever it may be, and then they mentor. And that's the only type of rehabilitation you get in any type of prison.
Right.
Federal, state, county, trust me.
And that sucks.
But you can go to, but you would get more out of going to that lifer and listening to him,
Hmm.
but really listening to him.
Because he has real life experience.
Yeah.
Most shrinks don't. You know, you go and sit with someone who's grown up in a suburb and got a psychology degree and had a pretty normal childhood, and they just sit there and write their little notes. Okay, here's your prescription. You know, like, that's not, I never wanted to be that. And
But you do have a degree though, right? So what I understand that, like, you found another path, but
Mhm.
why did you not decide to not want to do that?
So I
Because I think you'd be
started,
pretty good. I
I
mean, I've only talked
started,
to you for half an hour, but I think you'd be pretty good.
thank you. I started building a platform online where I was doing some online coaching for people and kind of building my own business. Because, like I said, I'm more entrepreneurial. I didn't want to have to go work for someone and clock in and clock out, be controlled by, you know, the government. Because once you're licensed and you work in an office, you can lose your license if you say something to somebody and they don't like it and they report you. Like,
So
so
I'll tell you what happened with
I
my
don't like to
guy.
be controlled. Again, I said that before, but
So you'll love this, right? So my therapist, right? So he would write brand name on certain type of drugs because the generic was not the same.
mhm,
The milligram might be the same, but the purity
right,
was not. So he'd write brand name. He was taking insurance, and they would give him such a hard time about writing brand name on the script, right? Because now they got to pay whatever it is for the
right,
brand name. Well, after about 2 years, he got sick of it. He just said, "Fuck it." He left, went to Palm Beach,
mhm,
spent $4 million on an office, and said, "Fuck it. If you want to come to me, it's cash only."
yeah,
And now he can write whatever he wants. Didn't lose one patient,
right,
you know. So
yeah.
that goes to your point. Now, you said off your website that anxiety brings anger.
So what I said is that
Yeah, you correct me.
I think you have to get a little bit angry at whatever created your anxiety and get a little bit angry at the victimhood aspect of it that it manifested.
And then you say breaking free from expectations.
I'll have to remember what's on my own website now. I haven't looked at it in a couple months.
No, it's good though. I think I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
so I'll try to get you moving on it. You know, I think what you meant at the time when you typed that up, or you know, whatever you did, was that you got to stop worrying about what people expect of you and
Yes.
worry about yourself, right?
Yeah. So I have a great example. When I was in my 20s, like I said, I worked in hospitality and I kept feeling this pressure from my mom, from friends, from society. Oh, when are you going to get a real job? Right? So then I
I
go,
heard that
so then I
plenty of
go,
times.
yeah. And I've always, like I said, been the type that I really hate being boxed in. I don't like time clocks. I don't function well like that. I'm very efficient. I'll work 12 hours a day. But the minute you tell me you got to show up at this time, you got to wear this, you got to clock out at this time, you can't do this, you can't do that, you got to take lunch for 30 minutes, like,
That's all three of us.
I'm done.
Rob, could you do that?
I can't.
I used to, and
I can't.
got tired of it.
Yeah, he was a reporter for Fox and NBC.
Nice.
Yeah, he got sick of that shit real quick.
Yeah. So I would go and find an office job, office manager, you know, whatever. And I'd be working. I'd be making half the amount of money I was making and working double the amount of hours that I was when I was bartending. And I'm like, this is for the birds. I got to get up super early. I'm not a woo morning person, you know what I mean? So then I'm sitting at my desk and people are already coming to me asking me stuff, phone calls, and I'm I'm in bitch mode. Like the first hour of the day, like I need some zen. I don't want to talk to anybody. And
What do you think about Zen? I have to ask you because I like Zen. What do you think about Zen?
what does that mean?
Zen is like Phil Jackson,
Zen is just a state of mind.
but it calms you down though, right?
Zen is just letting your mind be quiet and not letting it spiral, basically, and just being in the moment. No, so I would do that, and I'm like, I'm making half the amount of money, I'm working double the hours, so that I can say that I have a regular job.
No, thank you.
So that I can just like, oh, what are you doing now? Oh, I work for this office. Oh, so I can impress someone, or I can check someone's box and make my mom feel better. Like, what am I doing? So I kept going back. I kept going back to bartending or back to, waitressing, whatever, working at the club. And I never felt passionate about anything until the psychology stuff came along. And then I felt, I would say 50%.
Hold on. Would you relate that to the expectations? Is that how you go back? Because you kept doing that because like your mom would be like, okay, you have an office job now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have this. Oh, great, Gabby, great.
Yeah, when you're doing things to check other people's boxes or check society's boxes, you will never be happy. And you will start feeling depressed, and you will start feeling anxious. That's just the way it is. Then guess what happens? You start drinking. And then you start getting into relationships that suck. It's just a vicious cycle. So the best thing to do is, I actually learned this from Gary V. If you're young,
Gary V. Yeah, I love him.
If you're young and you don't know what you want to do, you don't know that you're super passionate about something, like you're not one of those people that you're 18 years old and you know you want to be a doctor or something, don't go to college. That's the worst thing you can do. You're going to sign up.
I agree with you.
You're going to sign up for all this
100%.
debt and like go through all these years of just to make your parents happy or whatever. Don't do that. Just try things.
Now, I read on the site, I know it's like not updated, but how do you reprogram yourself? That caught me. I stopped right there. I said, well, what would she say to that? How do you reprogram yourself?
It starts with little baby steps. So when you catch yourself about to do something or make a decision that is in alignment with the pattern that you've been in, and you kind of know what the end result is by now, you have to pause. I always say it's all in the pause. When you feel yourself about to say yes to something that you know you should say no to, when you feel yourself about to settle for something that you know you shouldn't, you have to just pause and give yourself a moment to think, what is the end of this decision? Is it going to end me the same place I'm at, that I'm not happy? Or is it going to take me a little bit different route? It's all about slowing down.
So kind of like play out the scenario in your head before you do it.
Yes, and like I said, pause. People don't understand. Your subconscious is a recorder. It's been recording every single moment of your life since you were born, whether you wanted to or not, and it never goes away. So you are, I think they said something like 80+% of the actions we do every day we don't have to think about. They're subconscious. Like the way you brush your teeth, the way you dry off after the shower, the way you brush your hair. A lot of habits you could do them in your sleep. I mean, they're not conscious decisions. You have to get more conscious. Like, all right, I'm about to say yes to this date, but why? Is this the same kind of person that I've dated before? Are there red flags here? There are red flags here. So why am I saying yes? Do I think that I can't do better than this? Do I think that I won't meet someone else? It's those kind of things. There's red flags that pop up in every scenario when you're about to repeat a pattern. And if you keep ignoring them, you'll never get out of the pattern. So that's what it means.
Even when you run for counselor, you probably should open up a part-time practice for.
No.
You can't do it. No?
I can't do it. So something I realized when I was starting my online platform, people don't want solutions. They want someone to rescue them. I had the hardest time getting people to complete, a program or complete something I had created for them. And at the end of the day, you're in control. You're the boss. you can give advice all day. I'm probably going to go back to writing once a week. I do miss writing. Writing is one of my things. To just try to help people. But now that I see things on a much bigger scale, as far as, like I said, the way the media, and not just the media, it's everything. It's TV shows, it's the internet, it's social media, it's how they know what you're thinking about, or they know what you like, so they pop more things up to make you just sort of stay in their algorithm. It's all of it. And social media, a lot of the toxic things that we're exposed to is keeping people from being aware, being self-aware.
I think I said this to Sean, and there was a person that was they were on YouTube, and it was like a mom, right? She just had a kid. Like, how do I lose weight after having a kid?
Right.
The next 10 videos were on anorexia. Okay. Well, now she watches that just out of curiosity. The next 10 are on, anorexia, the algorithms. Next thing you know, this broad dies.
Oh my God.
She becomes anorexic and she's dead. But that's how they set this shit up, because it's all about watch time. Watch time, money. So they,
yeah.
And in my opinion, I think you'll agree with me because you were Sean, is that they're just building an AI out of everything you do.
Yes, they create a profile on you, and then they show you more things that you want to see, or that they think you want to see. And so, number one, you're not exposed to anything new. Here's a great example. Let's say there's somebody that that fell under the spell of the whole BLM thing, right? And they're more Democrat leaning. They vote Democrat. They think, Barack Obama was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then
who just came out? I know you know this. Was it Bannon that just came out? Do you know who just came out, Rob? Somebody just came out, and he came out. He owned Overstock.com.
Yes.
Do you know about that?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're all fucked.
Yeah. Well, the guy who
I saw
either owned or used to own came out and said, "Look, they paid what, 8? He got paid $18 million for Hillary."
No, I think it was 16.
16, 18.
But yeah, but let's say that this person that I magically made up, had a change of heart, or started maybe at least questioning what was going on. If they wanted more information about the other side, they would have to not use Google, because if you Google something that's outside of the narrative, or outside of the algorithm they think you're on, it won't even come up on Google.
I use DuckDuckGo.
It's crazy. There's another one. I think it's called starts with an E. Astoria? No.
But if you
DuckDuckGo is good.
Yeah, you get everything on there.
Right. So DuckDuckGo is good, but I'm just saying how hard it is to claw your way out, and people think like, oh, you can just, if it was real, you could Google it. No. Google, Facebook, Twitter, all the tech giants, they're all in bed together. So if they don't want you to know who Alex Jones is, you will not see him on Google.
Yeah.
And he is the biggest thing. One of the biggest things since sliced bread.
You know what? I saw him on Rogan, right? And he had him back in for the end of the world.
He always gets drunk on Rogan. It's so funny.
Yeah. He stopped drinking for a while, but he's like, I can't stop, because I have to deal with this shit.
Right now is the epitome of his career.
Okay, as a psychiatrist, what would you diagnose him with?
Alex?
Yeah, he's drinking every night.
That's tough. Alex definitely has some issues. Like, you can't see the things that he's seen and be like this calm, like always rational, just like very, stoic, blah person.
Yeah.
He's passionate. He's, he gets ahead of himself, and he's impulsive. If Alex could control his impulsiveness and not
Kind of like Trump in a way, maybe.
not give into. No, Alex is on a different level from Trump, but
You don't
not.
like Trump?
No, I love Trump.
Okay.
Not to give into sort of like his urges to be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like, because then it's hard for people to take him serious. They don't understand that he's under so much stress and pressure that when he freaks out and he starts throwing his papers and he starts calling him funny names and he has his little cartoons and stuff, he's doing that as like a release. He's doing it as like, I have to laugh, I have to yell, I have to like release all of this tension and all of this pressure, because he's like a little pressure cooker. Look at him.
So
I
would
mean, it
you
looks
say
like he's
that
gonna
that's his
explode.
way of like venting
Mm-hmm.
in a way?
Yeah.
Well, he came into Rogan the last one that I saw. I mean, he had a stack. 1, 2, 3. I wrote down everything because I knew Sean was going to come in, and you know, I know it was a big thing. And about 85% of what he said came true.
Yes.
And I would probably say 90% was true. He might have been off by the year.
Well, and even he
predicted the coronavirus.
Yeah, even the 10%, it was just like details were off. It wasn't actually it was wrong.
Wasn't wrong, right? It was just like little shit that was off. But like you said, because he acts crazy, you know, he loses credibility because of that.
Because he's 100% himself all the time, and he's not super polished. That's why they can't have him on mainstream. He's not Tucker Carlson, you know?
Yeah. Well, Tucker Carlson is paying all their bills right now at Fox. You know who bought Fox?
Him, Hannity, and Lou Dobbs. A lot of older people watch Lou Dobbs, and Lou's very good too.
I like Lou Dobbs. I used to watch him on the treadmill all the time.
Yeah.
I like him. Cavuto, even though he's Italian, fuck him.
Yeah. I like Waters. You like Jesse Waters?
Yeah.
I do
on the 5. Now he's got his little show on Sundays.
Yeah, he's good. He's up and coming.
Yeah,
he's good. He's very, you know,
he's got the
logical,
look.
Honest with it.
Yeah, he's got the look, and he's funny and
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. But Cavuto, I used to watch Cavuto. He was all right, but when he cut off the press secretary for the president, I don't care if it's told. I don't care if the president says, "Look, a spaceship came and gave me a light," and the press secretary comes and is on the show.
Yeah.
You don't cut them off. They never did that to anybody else.
No. And I hate to say, but Kaylee's a boss.
Who's
She's
Kaylee?
the best. Kaylee's a press secretary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know who she is? The press secretary?
Yeah, her name's Kaylee.
Oh,
she's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She's a little pit bull.
No, she's a pit
She lays
bull.
it down. You should. I think it was yesterday. She just wrecked mainstream media for not reporting on Swalwell, and not
What's Swalwell?
Swalwell is
You gotta tell me.
the Democratic rep in California that ended up in bed with the Chinese spy Feng Feng.
Fucking California.
Oh my God, that guy.
Thank God we don't live there.
I would never. I'd live in a van before I lived in California.
And I love California. It's a beautiful place,
vans.
but fuck that.
Yeah.
What if I had a choice between a van and California? I'm in a van.
Oh yeah.
Down by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, and an RV.
In Texas or something.
Yeah, that's why everybody's moving to Texas and here.
In Florida, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So tell me about that. What
So
the hell is
she
that?
just wrecked everybody for not reporting on it, you know, this past week on Eric Swalwell, and for not reporting on the Hunter thing now that the Hunter thing is coming out. And she's so great. So she shows a side by side as she's talking on the screen for them, you know, because they're like 5-year-olds, of, oh, here's your article from the end of October about the Hunter thing, that it's nothing, it's Russian disinformation, it's this and that. And then here's your article from this past week saying, oh yeah, he really is being investigated for his China dealings. She's like, how do you guys think you have any credibility?
But did you see the 23-page dossier? Is that what you call it? That came out? Dossier? Yeah, it's out.
For the WikiLeaks?
Wall Street Gary told me. I mean, Wall Street Gary's like Sean.
Oh.
It's bang, 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 bang all day long. He's 69. He's on
That's great.
modafinil.
Yeah.
Provigil. You can't get addicted to it. It's just, do you know what it is?
I don't.
Okay, well, you ever see the movie Limitless?
Yes.
Okay, it's pretty close to that drug, but it hits your S1 and
What's it called again?
Modafinil.
I looked it up after you told Sean about it.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like, I mean, I don't like medicine at all. The only thing I didn't like is that it's actually for
narcolepsy.
Yes.
But it's not, though. So I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? Because I've dealt with it for 20 years. So, not that I'm going to tell you what happened. I don't have a psychology degree. I'm just going to tell you my opinion.
Yeah.
So sorry to
you're
say
good.
that. No, so Modafinil came out in 1956, okay? And they first gave it to pilots so they could fly the military planes, you know, and not fall asleep. Then 1976, they realized the other things it could do. Well, now they started to look into it, and nobody ever died. You'll have the worst headache in the planet before you overdose. So in other words, it comes in like 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams. You take 500 milligrams of that, you're not even going to think about taking another one because your head hurts so bad that you just want to lay down. So then the 90s come, the 2000s come, blah, blah, blah. It's still not scheduled. Well, now they start doing research on it because it's getting prescribed off label because it was prescribed for narcolepsy, as you know. And they figured out that it works for ADHD, OCD, social anxiety, depression, alcoholism, cocaine addiction. And that's just off the top of my head.
Right.
So the big pharma comes down and says, well, we don't like this because we want to give you Adderall, which you're going to need another drug to get off of the Adderall.
Of course.
And, you know,
Adderall's the worst thing.
You know, like the domino effect of, okay, you take this, you take this, you take this.
So is the modafinil, is it, so you said it's not addictive.
No.
And what are the side effects, if any?
If you
take... Because I read some of them, but I don't know if any of them actually occur.
Okay. Did you ever read NCIB?
It sounds familiar.
So if you ever want to read about a drug, and I'm not telling you anything because you know more than me.
First of all,
I'm just telling you
the
my
drug
opinion.
side of things. I only know. I know a little bit from personal experience with family members and friends. I don't do the medicine thing. I am anti-pharma.
Right. So NCIB is third-party funded, right? So that means there's nobody behind them, and they do big research studies. It's not just like, you know, somebody's paying them to say this or say that. And there's two side effects from it. One, you can get a skin condition from it, but it's extremely rare. It's like, or it's extremely unlikely that it would happen. It's like 0.2%. And you'll get like a rash, and then you know it's just not for you.
Right. And
the other one is you'll get a headache if you take too much, and that's it.
Right.
It hits the, you know, like the S1 and the S2 receptor in your brain, the beta antagonist. Scientists to this day don't even really know how it works because it doesn't show up in your blood, it doesn't show up in your urine, but it hits them at the same time. S1, S2, and then it fires back to the S7, which then the left side of your brain and your right side of your brain, they work together.
Right.
And now when you take it, you get a euphoria at first, but not like an addictive euphoria. And it's been proven, and they did 57,000 patients. It ups with it's a nootropic. Okay? Nootropic, I'm sorry. And if you take
those ones I'm familiar with, and I've taken a nootropic before.
Which one?
Now you put me on the spot. It's been a long time.
New. What's the one I hate? New Fennel or it's shit.
No, it's not that one.
Make you angry.
The one I took was more. I took it when I was studying and when I was in college, and it was more for just like focus and memory and just like cognitive function.
Okay, well, modafinil, the brand name Provigil. Okay, it's been around forever. So it's been around, you know, 50. Let's just say 60 years.
Right.
No one has ever overdosed. Ever. No one's ever got addicted to it.
Right.
I could take it for 20 years and stop it right now. Now, of course, I'm not going to be quite as quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit there and go like this.
Right, right. No, the nootropics are basically, they're souped up supplements. It's definitely not a pharmaceutical.
Well, Well,
A nootropic, you ever heard of like peptides?
Yeah.
It's in that family. It reacts with the different receptors in your brain, but it is not a pharmaceutical. You do not need a prescription for it.
Well, what they did was, what I was getting to was they realized that Provigil, brand name modafinil. So you used to be able to go and get the generic 30 of them at 200 milligrams each for, I think when I first started getting it was like $60 for 30 of them. Well, you know, I have a little bit of a vacation and I go back to get it. Now it's $1,200 for 30. Now, why is it $1,200 for 30? Why? Well, the answer to that question is because the big pharma, which we both fucking hate, okay, they realize that this one drug, you don't need Adderall. You don't need whatever you would take for social anxiety.
Right.
You don't need all this shit to get off alcohol and coke. You can take this one drug that you're not going to die from, you're not going to get addicted to, and then you're not going to need something on top of that to get over it.
Right.
So now it's $1,200 for 30.
Well, when I was younger, I knew a lot of people that could have used that had Palm Beach is horrible for cocaine.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I moved from Pennsylvania down here. I went into Publix. I'll never forget, like my first week here, I went into Publix. I didn't even know what Publix was. And I walked around and everybody looked like, I mean, from a 60-year-old woman to a 30-year-old woman to a 20, they looked all fucked up all the time. I mean, whacked out. I never saw that up north.
Well, I mean, some people obviously take, like, you know, Adderall, whatever. To me, Adderall and Coke
It's horrible.
they're in the same family. I can't take stimulants. I can't even drink coffee. If I have a little bit of coffee in the afternoon, it's because I'm like, got up early, I'm crashing, I need a little bit of energy, but I've never liked stimulants at all. And I had bad experiences from my childhood from people having issues with drugs. So like, the hard drug thing is a hard no for me, hard pass. And, but being in Palm Beach County, you know, especially in the hospitality, you know, I'm bartending, whatever, it was rampant. Well, it still is.
Were you born here and grew up here?
No, I was born in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. I got friends out. Where in Chicago?
West suburbs.
Oh, I got
like 20 minutes outside the city.
Friends in, yeah, I got a lot of friends out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, you don't want to be there now.
No, hell no.
No. Schaumburg. You know where Schaumburg is?
Schaumburg is a northern suburb, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in like Westchester, Oak Brook area.
Okay, so you were up a little bit, right?
It's west suburbs considered. Yeah. But I moved down to Florida when I was almost 20. And yeah, it's
I got to tell you one last thing about the modafinil is that it doesn't do anything. Like there's absolute, like there's
no jitters and all that kind of stuff.
No. Like when we're talking about like energy, like you don't like coffee, it like you take it and it's not like some like hyper, like you're ready to go run 3 miles. It's just
it's more of like a clarity thing.
Right. Well, the first thing that you get from it hits you and you're kind of just like, well, you start looking at things differently. Like, you know, maybe things aren't so bad. Like your house is on fire. And now you're pissed off that the house is on fire, right? But it's like, yeah, it just puts your mind, it's been proven. It ups your IQ from 16 to 32 points when active. Proven. And so when you take it and like, let's just say, I always use this example.
I think I'd be scared if my brain was more lit up than it is naturally, to be honest. Because my brain's always on.
But it's not like that though. It's not, but you're thinking like you're going to take this and you're going to be like going 100 miles an hour. It's the complete opposite. It's more of that you're more like you would sit here, which you're probably already doing, like I'm doing, and you're reading my body language. I'm reading your body language, right? But now you're 10 steps ahead of me. You're not all hyped up and talking more or going fucking wacko. You know what I mean? Like chatterbox or some crazy shit like that.
Right.
You know, you're just... You see things that you normally
You're more self-aware and externally aware.
And then when you read something, you can comprehend it like that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it helps you focus and not be distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the bullshit from like an Adderall.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's really good. Read about it. It's
Yeah,
really good.
I've never I have friends that took Adderall when they were in college, and friends now that take it because they actually do have, you know, ADD, they can't focus, they're all over the place. And now since they're used to taking it, when they try to stop taking it, they're so tired, they can't focus, they're just like they're forgetting everything, they're distracted. It's sad.
And then what do? You go back to the doctor, you say, I feel like shit. Now, he already knows this is going to happen, in my opinion.
Oh
You
yeah.
know more than me. I'm just saying my opinion. He knows when I give you this Adderall, when I
Mhm.
give you the Xanax, when I give you the volume, whatever I give you, I know you're going to come back to me because you're
Well,
going to want to get over it at some point,
and they know that the
and they're getting the
chances of you
kickback.
stopping taking it at any point is slim to none, so you need them. They make you, the big pharma wants you to be dependent. Just like big media wants you to be dependent on their information, big pharma wants you to be dependent on their pills. And the Hollywood, the movies, the programming, they want you to subscribe to their channel of bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all a consumption and dependency game.
I'm telling you, your research modafinil, NCBI. Read
Okay.
about it.
I will.
It's 67 pages.
If I feel like I need it, I'll
Not that you need it. I'm
yeah.
just saying, just in general. Not that you give
Yeah,
a shit
well,
about
I
that.
mean, I've had Sean take a natural supplement, a compound supplement. You can get it, you know, you can get it online, Synaptol.
Yeah, I
Because he
told him to stop
suffers
taking that,
from
by the way.
adult ADD.
Yeah.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, I read about it. Yeah.
I mean, when he takes it, it's not like this huge significant, like, oh, he just took an Adderall difference. Not that he would know the difference because Sean's never taken an Adderall. He wouldn't. Sean's never taken any drug. Um, but it makes a difference in him being as forgetful and as scatterbrained, and just a little help. But
It
I
kind
never.
of keeps him like on track.
Yeah, like it's not. Like I said, it's not a pharmaceutical, so it's not like
Yeah.
this drastic, you know, change, but it helps.
No, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
And I'd rather, you know, I'd rather always stick with the natural route before we go to something that he's going to need to take forever. Because this
Yeah.
stuff isn't addictive, obviously. It's just
Yeah.
a supplement.
Yeah. Well, that's the big farm, and Trump beat him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure that will be X'd out if he doesn't overturn this.
He is. I have
You
no
think he'll
doubt.
overturn it?
I have no doubt.
100%?
I follow everything the president does pretty much 24 hours a day.
Tell me what the red pill is. Sean said you got the red pill. So tell me what, elaborate on that.
It means that even though before I met Sean, I never watched the news. I always knew that the news was 95% negative, fear mongering. You know, they never talk about anything good. It's all stress.
I can't even watch it.
So I never watched the mainstream news to begin with.
What'd you watch?
But you know, I didn't. My mother would have to call me and tell me if there was a hurricane, and she lives in Tennessee. That's how much I did not watch the news. And I shit you not, and she knows that. She has to text me. You know, there's a storm coming your way. Are you leaving? Are you gonna batten down? What are you doing? I'm dead serious. So, but social media was alive and well. So I would see different things on Facebook and whatnot, you know, for when Obama was in office. And I did vote for Obama once. You know, he fooled me once. Fool me once, shame on you. You fool me twice, shame on me, right?
Me and you both.
So
I voted for him first because he is the best talker that there is.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching him, and I said, "Man, this guy's got me."
Yeah.
I mean, and at first I was like, "Yeah."
He seems eloquent. He seems empathetic. He seems like he had answers. He's full of shit. So anyway,
now, when you say he's full of shit, why do you say he's full of shit?
Obama is one of the most corrupt, evil human beings on the planet, if not the most.
And why do you have that opinion?
Because I've seen the evidence.
What evidence?
Obama is not who everyone thinks he is. He's not this, you know, he's not this Chicago, you know.
Homeless guy, like
No.
tough life. Yeah,
No, no,
I agree with you.
no. Obama is a CIA baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wasn't involved in politics at all. Didn't give two shits. Don't talk to me about politics. Don't care about the news. 0% involved in my own little bubble of toxicity that I, you know, it's like I would say 80% healthy, 20% toxicity, but the 20% really messed up the other 80%. So I met Sean, and him and I used to fight about Trump because I always saw Trump as like, he's the apprentice guy. He's like a pompous douche, right? How's he gonna run the country? And then all the articles started coming out about him. You know, all the stuff that magically never came out till he ran for president. And I saw it. I would see it on Facebook and stuff, and I fell for it. And I was like, I don't want this guy as president. He's a womanizer. He's this and that. And Sean was like, you're brainwashed. You're this and that. And I'm like, I don't even watch the news. I don't even get into politics. I don't even want to have this argument with you. This is when we were just friends. And he red pilled me with Alex Jones. So he forced me to watch Alex Jones. And the first couple weeks I watched it, I was like, this guy's fucking nuts. How, you watch this every day? No wonder you're crazy. And I'm like, he's so dramatic and he's yelling and he's the things he's saying. But then because I am me and I'm a researcher, everything that he was saying, I started looking it up.
No, I'm telling you, I had 3 different people look up, fact check it. You know, I don't have the time to do it.
I started digging.
And guys in other countries, I do the fact check, and I'm telling you, I would say 85% of what he said came true. I would say 80% he was right on. And I'd say the other 10% he was just off on like dates, and then the other 10% was maybe his promotional shit
or his predictions and things like that. But you got to understand, this is what I always say when they're like, well, you know, Alex wasn't right about that, or Trump lost this case, or, you know, they said this was going to happen, but then, you know, it didn't go that way, you know, for Trump or whatever. Listen, they're playing a giant game of chess where they know they have all the dirt on the other party. They have all of it. I'm talking all of it, but you can't dump all of it on the people. You can't. They can't handle it. Can you imagine if Trump just came out and said, here's the WikiLeaks videos, here's the Wiener laptop videos, world, have fun with that. There would be a meltdown. But
nobody would do anything anyway.
Well, it's not that no one would do anything. It's that the people would revolt in a way that could not be managed. And I don't want to say controlled. I want to say managed. You don't want society to think that everyone in power is evil, satanic, all of the messed up things. Because
that's what I'm saying. Okay,
the truth is they're not.
We know that the FBI is crooked, right?
Oh yeah, the FBI, the CIA, part of the NSA.
But if they go after the FBI, right? So just hear me out. If they go after the FBI, which we know
it makes people lose faith,
crooked as fuck. Okay, so now what's going to happen when they go into court? Every defense attorney that's paid is going to bring up something that the FBI did wrong. And now the defense attorneys in an FBI case, and the FBI wins what, 99.6% of every case?
Right.
Okay. Now you bring this out. And this is why no Supreme Court, well, there's a bunch of reasons that I know for sure. But one of them is because if they go after them and they knock them, now they're just going to get beat in the head in court.
Right.
So, like you said, it affects society. If you go after the CIA, which we know are crooked as fuck, I mean, retardedly crooked. The NSA, they're not going to go with Trump. They're all fucked up. But if you go after them, then society has no faith in anything.
Exactly.
And it's too much of a domino effect.
So what you have to do is what he's essentially doing. He's allowing certain information to get out to sort of bird feed, baby feed people the truth. And some people are still asleep. I mean, I find that just mind-boggling, but some people still are. But then in the background, he's dismantling them in the background. So you've got to take one by one out, because you can't wipe the whole thing, because like you said, it makes citizens lose faith in the whole system, and then you have chaos, and you don't want chaos. Nobody wants chaos. I don't even want chaos.
Gabby, have you ever read Machiavelli the Prince?
Have I ever read it?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You've never read Machiavelli the Prince. You're a
Mm-mm.
psychologist. Never read Machiavelli the Prince.
No.
Okay. I made him get that book.
Coming in Friday.
You got to get that book.
All right.
All right. Have you ever read Sun Tzu?
Sundance. That one sounds familiar.
Have you ever read, not seen, The Secret?
Yes.
Read it.
Read.
Okay. So now if you read Machiavelli the Prince, which is the main one, you notice how Trump is kind of quiet right now? He's not his normal self.
No, he's comfortable. Did you see him at the freaking Army Navy game?
I disagree with you. But he's not out like he used to be.
No.
He's not going off. Because if you read these books, what he's doing is, so Machiavelli the Prince, okay, like there was wars and all this other shit. And his theory was if love worked, then we would all love each other. But love doesn't work. Fear works. And if you read the book, you know, it was written a long time ago. There's an updated version, blah, blah, blah. But now when he goes into war again after learning that, he has his 45 in his pocket.
Right.
But he's not pulling it out.
Right.
He's being quiet. And this is probably as quiet as Trump can possibly be. All right? I mean, you can only make him so quiet.
Well, I mean, he's still tweeting as usual.
Well, but he's not, if you look at him 6 months ago, he is nothing 6 months ago like he is now. And that's the Machiavelli philosophy. And I don't see the big hammer. I know I see all this stuff come up, and Sean sends me stuff, and Wall Street Gary, we call him Wall Street Gary. You love him.
Right.
You'll meet him.
I love Steve Pieczenik.
Yeah.
Steve Pieczenik is a psychologist psychiatrist. Psychologist?
What is the difference
One of them.
between the two?
Psychiatrist is more medicine-based.
Oh, okay.
Right. So psychologist is someone who studies or is an expert in psychology.
Like the brain?
Right. So a psychiatrist is someone who diagnoses diseases of the brain, and usually either, through medicine or surgery or whatever. They're more of a, I guess you could say, traditional doctor.
Right.
A psychologist is someone who studies more the ideology and the behaviors of the brain.
So I have to ask you this, right? Because you're going to meet Wall Street Gary because you're with Sean. You'll love him. He'll crack you up.
Yeah.
He's like a 70-year-old dirty guy. So he cracks jokes left and right. You'll probably hate him. But
no.
you'll laugh, though.
No, I grew up in Chicago, and I am a guy's girl, so I love guys like that.
Yeah, like he's sitting here 70, right? We're trying to play with the machine. His arms are going up, right? He's like, I'm jerking off right now, Rob. I can't put my,
That's so
But he's just, because he's 70, he's just having fun.
I used to work in bars. I don't get offended.
Yeah, no, but he's a character, though. But you would love him, though, because he is like, I had to think, who's worse, Sean or him?
No, I'm worse than Sean.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
No, I send Sean most of the info.
Then he sends it to me.
Yeah.
So he's getting it from you.
Yeah. Our delivery of information is different, but
I won't tell him that.
That's okay. No, he's the one who red pilled me. He's very Alex. I'm very everything. I want all the information so then I can use my own discernment and my own common sense and my own logic to sort of sift through it.
So you want all the facts, and then you develop your own opinion.
I want all the information, and then I want to determine what is a fact based on evidence.
So now you think 100% he's going to overturn it.
100% Biden will never be president. Neither will Kamala.
Well, I know that Biden isn't.
And neither will Kamala.
Okay.
Do you know why she hasn't given up her Senate seat yet? And it's fucking, what is it, December 16th?
Well, okay, this is what I know. You know more than me. I'm not fucking with you, Gary, or Sean. I'm just telling you what the hell I know, right? And I think that they put Biden in there as a stool. They paid Bernie off again. Because Bernie actually would have been something Trump might have had to really work against.
Bernie's working with one of my favorite senators. His name is Josh Hawley. They are working on an initiative to get people the stimulus relief because evil Nancy Pelosi is still blocking it until Biden's sworn in, or so she thinks.
But if now let me ask you this: if Trump delays things and he pushes it back, doesn't Kamala become or no? If they come out and they say Biden's a nutcase, he's not stood for president, which is why they put him in there.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have Kamala
He's a
as your
puppet.
president, and you have Pelosi as your vice president. Am I right on that?
Yes, Speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really? Jeez.
Can you imagine something worse?
Can you imagine something worse, Rob?
Okay.
I'll put a gun to
So
my
let's say, hypothetically, radical situation happens and all of the pieces that have been put into place for the last probably 10 plus years fall through, and those two nutbags try to get inaugurated. There will be a civil war, a real one, not the one that's going on right now.
I kind of agree
There's
with that.
millions of patriots who will not allow this country to fall under communist China's rule.
But you tell me.
Millions.
Now I've studied this.
Millions of people.
I know the courts. I know the courts really well.
Mhm.
You tell me how Trump's going to win this.
So something happened yesterday in the Oval Office that Dan Scavino, who is the president's chief of staff, can't tell us about quite yet, but he's going to when the time's right. Something,
Now, hold on,
something
hold on.
historic happened.
Okay, hold on.
Mhm.
You don't think that two suits are going to go up to that house in a black duffel bag and say, "Look, here's 300." What's he making a year? Do you think?
Who?
Dan Stovlas.
Dan Scavino,
I'm sorry.
is blood loyal to Trump.
But how much do you think he's making a year?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know how much the chief of staff makes. I'd have to look it up. I don't want to misspeak.
Let's just say 200K to make it simple.
Okay.
Okay, so two people come up in a black suit.
Mhm.
They got a duffel bag. Here's 500K.
Mhm.
You're gonna walk away from this.
He would never.
How's your daughter Nancy? How's your daughter Belinda? Oh, you got a son named Charlie? Yeah, he likes McDonald's, doesn't he?
All their families are very protected,
But you don't think they're doing that?
and I think they're doing it, but I don't think that there's certain people, and Dan Scavino's one of them, that Trump doesn't question his loyalty for a moment. He is a pit bull for Trump. He would die for Trump. He would jump in front of a train for Trump.
Okay, I interrupted you. So
Otherwise,
finish on that
he
one.
wouldn't be his chief of staff. That's the closest person to the president, is his chief of staff.
He's had snakes around him his whole presidency.
But there's a
One
reason.
after another.
That's a reason for that too.
Yeah.
You cannot expose your enemy without putting them in the limelight. You cannot expose corruption without giving them the rope to hang themselves. You know, you can't show the American people and the world, to be honest, because the whole world's watching,
I just got beat
how
again.
evil and corrupt people are if you don't show them in real time.
I was just trying to win one time with you, but you just keep beating me.
Well,
Other than the modafinil.
yeah.
So I'm 1 for 10. Rob, what am I, 1 for 10 right now? Yeah, so
Before Trump ran,
wow, you're tough to
years-
make laugh.
years before Trump ran, they call them white hats, have been putting together this plan with Trump, but way before he ran, years before he ran, if things got bad enough. And they got bad enough that they knew that if Hillary got into office, we would be completely infiltrated by China. We would be the virus, everything would have happened, but it would have transpired as a nationwide lockdown, everybody microchipped. We would be in slave world right now.
But I want to go back to why do you think that Overstock guy,
Who?
is it Bannon? What's his name?
Are you talking about
The
Steve
Overstock
Bannon?
guy.
Yeah.
No, he's the former CEO of Overstock. I don't remember his name. I could look it up.
Yeah.
but
Rob will do it while we're talking. But why do you think he decided to come out now?
because before, the good guys were a really small little group. And the bad guys were a very, very big, powerful group. Now, the good guys have all come out from the shadows because they have all the evidence and they have the legs to stand on now. They have help. And so this is my assumption. The guy feels like this is the time. He probably didn't feel safe doing it before, and now he knows who's really in control, and they aren't anymore.
So who's really in control right now?
Trump.
You think so? Really?
Oh, yeah.
I hope you're right.
Of everything.
I hope you're right, girl.
Patrick Byrne.
Patrick Byrne. There you go.
Patrick Byrne.
He's the former CEO of Overstock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got that from Sean and Gary, and I was like, why would he come out now?
You know what's crazy is when I saw that, the day before, I watched a clip of Obama saying, yeah, you know, I always thought it would be, like, once I got out of office, it would be great to just, like, have the next candidate, like, have me kind of have an earpiece in their ear and be able to kind of help them and guide them and, you know, sort of from a basement or something. And it's like, he just admitted, because, you know, that's part of the whole satanic.
Yeah, tell me from what he did.
It's part of the whole satanic culture. We'll call it a culture. Yeah, it is a culture.
So what he did, right,
is that
was
they have
he
to
took
brag.
the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in return,
No.
Obama was going to, like, basically call the shots for Hillary? Yeah, you tell me. I don't know.
He facilitated the bribe between the FBI and Hillary. So the FBI went to him and said, I need you to get in a room alone with Hillary, and I need you to get her to accept this bribe, and this is what it entails. And the reason why is they can't have Barack walking in there, and then they'll like, well, what was discussed? Well, how did $60 million come up, and blah, 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 and why did this $60 million, you know, get deposited into this, you know what I'm saying? So they do everything very covert, is what I inferred. And then he explained in the video, if you watch it, why he started pushing back against them and they threatened him, so he stopped. But the reason why is because they told him in 2016, early 2016, like January, Hillary's already in the election. She's already going to be president. She's already whatever. And this was a year before the election, or almost a year. And don't worry about anything. Like, this is just the way, you know, it's going to be. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. And he said that that bothered him. That it's like, the people have no say in who's the president. These people are literally controlling everything. If you watch Alex, if you watch a lot of other people, Obama never really left office in his mind. In his mind, his shadow government run by John Brennan, who is the most corrupt piece of shit in the FBI. And
is he still in the FBI right now? Like, fully?
I want to say yes, but I think that he took a different role. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
there's so many moving parts with it.
And then why do you think he got rid of Bill Barr? I thought he'd be a beast. I said that to Sean. I thought he'd be a killer. So I think somebody got to him, but
no. So I have a theory on Bill Barr. Bill Barr was deep state, and I think that he was able to get close. No, was deep state.
Well, explain deep state for people that don't know. I know what it is, but
it means that you work for basically the elite families and entities in the world, and not truly for the American people. You are the swamp that Trump talks about. The deep state is the swamp he talks about. The people who are bought off, the corrupt politicians, the ones that don't have our best interest at heart, the ones who do really, really bad things behind closed doors. That's the deep state. And their plan was to subvert our government and hand us to China for money, basically. And the list of 2.2 million Chinese spies was released 2 days ago that have infiltrated all aspects of our American society.
Wow.
The list was released.
But
So
why don't they do anything about it though?
they are.
What are they doing?
You can't always see everything that they're doing. That's why generals, his attorneys, and a lot of people close to Trump are telling him to invoke the Insurrection Act and declare martial law and round everyone up.
And what's the
Everyone.
Insurrection Act?
The Insurrection Act?
Insurrection, sorry.
It's the Insurrection Act of, I think it's 1807. It basically says that the president has the power to, if there's someone trying to overthrow the government, whether it's foreign or domestic, that he can declare, martial law, lock down the country, and use the military to squelch whoever that is.
Oh, wait till you meet Gary is gonna love you.
Yeah.
Gary will love her.
It's,
Yeah.
Brennan, it says, I'm going by Wikipedia, so let's go with that first. But it is former director of the CIA from March 2013 to January 2017.
So he's out.
Former.
He's out.
Yeah.
So now you think 100%.
I think I said FBI. I should have said CIA.
Yeah, so it was in the CIA. Wow.
So
Same shit.
So Obama's shadow government and all the people that are deep state that are corrupt that didn't leave when, Trump got in office, Obama has been using them and controlling them essentially from his basement, as he, says in his little clip. And they've known, Trump's people, we'll just call them, or the white hats, have known about that. And that's the reason for the Russia hoax. It's the reason why a lot of things that Trump tried to pass and change and improve in the country during his first term didn't happen, because they fought him on every single thing he ever tried to do. Now, he passed and got done a shit ton.
More than any other president.
More than any other president. And
By
you have to
far.
understand that it was him and a few people that helped him. And
I think it's family, personally. And Pence. I think Pence is a good dude.
Yeah, and everyone else was fighting him 24 hours a day, and he got all that done. If you don't like him as a person, you got to respect that.
Yeah, it's not about liking him. It's about, you have to look at what he accomplished.
I always say that. You don't have to like someone's personality.
No, he's a fucking asshole. I mean, he's a fucking asshole. I mean, I like him. I don't think he's a fucking asshole.
I think he's great. First of all,
I like him because he's him.
What man could run, or woman? I'm an asshole. If I was in charge of the country, I'd be an asshole. What person, we'll just say, could run this country and deal with being attacked 24 hours a day by every establishment arm known to man and not be an asshole?
And snakes,
you get run over.
And snakes all around you all the time.
Pence, I love Pence, but he could never be president.
No,
he's not mean enough.
No. But I think he has more fire under his ass than people think.
No, he does.
That last debate.
Oh, he did great.
I thought he was kind of Christian guy, very careful. He went to battle.
Well, but he does it in a very gentlemanly way.
Right, he does. No, very respectful way. He talked very respectful, but he didn't take any shit though.
No, he did not.
I was impressed. I was shocked. And so when somebody says Pence is
Pence is capable.
He's capable, but you're right.
He's very capable, but because honestly, it takes an asshole. And the only reason why Obama fooled people into thinking that he was a good president is because he's a good talker. He's just like that ex-boyfriend, that ex-girlfriend that you have that tells you all the sweet nothings in your ear and tells you everything you want to know and then goes behind your back and fucks up your life.
Right. And he's a good talker, and he had the lobbyists behind him. He had the banks behind him. This was all
the
set
media,
up with him.
Okay, first of all, Obama had everyone on his side, and then they would pick and choose what they would attack him on to seem fair.
Right. Totally agree with you.
And then you got Trump, who everyone loved before he ran for president. Then the whole establishment and everyone went against him and fought him and demonized him. And there's still people that think that Trump's a bad guy. It's like, wow.
Because they didn't look at what he did.
I always
they
judge a
look
man
at
by
what,
his enemies.
Right. They look at what he says. Like
Mhm.
they don't, like they're too
Well,
much on that fucking social media
it's
bullshit.
not even what he says, because the things that they said he said, they took a 3-minute
They
clip.
take it out of context.
They
right.
cut off
Yep,
the
you're
part where
right.
he said one
You're right.
thing. They give you the 30 seconds of what fools you into thinking he said something else. And then they don't let you see the other one. And then when you watch the other one, they make excuses about it.
You're 100% right.
It's just all...
They take part of what he says
Mhm.
and then turn it into something he really didn't say.
It's manipulation.
Yeah, it's manipulation.
100% manipulation.
Unfucking real.
Horrible.
Now, you think he's going to win 100%, right?
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, now I'm going to tell you my opinion, and you know more than me, and Sean knows more than me. So I'm just going to tell you how I think he's only got a shot. Is if he can get it to a state-by-state vote. Because there's more red states than blue states, right?
The Congress right now, because there are a few contested states, it will probably end up going to a congressional vote. So, yes, you're right. That's one path. There's a couple, honestly.
But I don't think that because I've been through the law, right?
So here's what everybody
There's no judge that's going to hear this. So get that out of your head. It's not going to happen.
There is, but give me a second and I'll explain.
Okay.
Everyone got really gassed up a week ago when Texas filed that lawsuit and 20 states jumped in and said, we're in here too, and we want to support this, right? And everyone got really excited. I got excited. I was like, this is good. Even if they're just showing the support, it's good. I knew that there was a chance, based on standing, that the Supreme Court would say, that was not part of the plan. Just so you know, that lawsuit from Texas that everybody kind of jumped on that bandwagon, which was great, was a bonus. That was an extra. Trump wasn't expecting that. Ted Cruz put that together with the other legislators in Texas. By the way, I think Ted Cruz should be the Senate Majority Leader of the Senate because Mitch McConnell is a Chinese bitch. Anyway.
Whoa, Mitch McConnell's a Chinese bitch, really?
Look up
tell me.
Look up Mitch McConnell's wife.
But I don't know. So
Mitch McConnell's wife is, her father is one of the largest, if not the largest, owner of a shipping company, like a shipping container company in China.
Really?
Yeah, she's yeah.
And Mitch
McConnell welcomed Biden as the president-elect the other day, so he can, keep
Mitch McConnell did?
Yeah.
So I don't even watch the shit because it drives me crazy.
I'm not surprised.
I actually like Cruz now. At first I didn't like him, but I like him now.
Cruz had to go through some things and be shown some things before he was like, oh shit, all right, I get it now. But he's great. I like him a lot. I think he should be the new Senate Majority Leader when they get rid of Mitch, because Mitch is a traitor.
Do you like DeSantis?
I love DeSantis. We call him DeSanta Claus.
See, I think that DeSantis has a shot, not next, but at some time with Trump's backing to be president.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want Candace Owens to run with, it has to be a super strong running mate. It has to be exactly the right person. Like a little older, it's got to be a guy. And I haven't quite pegged who I think it should be yet. I have a few.
You know what Wall Street Gary was telling me? You probably know this. I could look it up, but I just, I don't want to look shit up again. But they were calling somebody doctor all the time in the Democrats. I forget who the hell it was.
Jill Biden.
Is that? Yeah, you're right. Jill Biden. Okay. But now, Dr. Carlson, who did brain surgery, who separated two brains.
Carson, yeah.
Carson. I'm sorry, Carson. 50% of the time they call him a now. He's the first brain surgery guy.
Yeah. And he's head of housing and development.
And here and there they call him doctor.
Right.
Well, there's no doctor more than him.
Right.
But Jill Biden, who has a she's
Well,
not
that's
even
why
a
Tucker
fucking
Carlson.
doctor, is she?
That's why Tucker Carlson went
Yeah, it was
after
on
her
Tucker.
this week and
Yeah, it
said,
was a 10-minute
you know,
clip that
she's
your
about as much of a
boyfriend sent
doctor
me.
as Dr. Pepper. I love Tucker.
Okay, so tell me how he's gonna win. How is Trump gonna win?
So there's a few paths, but like I said, that Texas lawsuit was a bonus. He wasn't expecting that. That wasn't even part of the plan. All the lawsuits that his attorneys have now presented to the Supreme Court and his legal team has presented to the Supreme Court, and the cases that just came out of Michigan where they proved that 68% of the ballots that were run through that machine were switched. That's almost 70%.
Well, the last time I did watch the news, they took 100. I think they at the time they had subpoenaed the one in Georgia, and they got it, and they put 100 like votes in the machine,
Right.
and it was 50 Trump, 50 Biden, and it came out 80-20, and 80 was Biden,
Yep.
and 80 was Trump. Did you see it, Rob? Yeah, and the fucking thing spit out. It was 50-50. I mean, fuck.
Yep. So it happened in many states. Not every state used Dominion. So like Texas refused to use it. I don't think it was used in Florida. So I think it's about 70% of the states. I'd have to double check that to be sure. Used those machines, and they're all programmed the same.
And Pelosi was behind those.
They're all going
dirty motherfuckers, man.
I've
never seen anything more dirty in my life.
I'm gonna tell you,
I've seen more dirty shit than you've seen times a million.
You'd be surprised. I'm going to tell you something that I tell Sean because Sean is very, very impatient and he gets pessimistic and he gets doomsday-ish, like, you know. And so I tell him the establishment and the corruption has been growing and building for decades and decades, like since way before even our parents were born. It is not going to take one short 4-year Trump term to fix everything. So you have to give that man some time.
He gets 4 more years. You better look out.
Oh, the second 4 years is going to be a bloodbath compared to the first. And it's all going to start.
I'm sorry.
I think it's
pissed off about my fucking clock.
I think it's going to start probably tomorrow. Your handmade clock.
Throwing it the fuck away. Trashing it. Fuck you. Sorry. Driven me nuts 3 times now. Just interrupted.
You're fine. So yeah, I just think that everyone needs to be patient, even though the people who are awake, we are running out of, we're out of patience. We've been past our point of patience and we just want everyone to go to jail, but it doesn't work that way. And it sucks, but we have to let it play out because if he rounded everybody up, let's say like a year ago, the citizens that believe the bad guys, it would have been a war. They would have, like, can you imagine if they took Obama away in cuffs like a year ago? Oh my God, the libtards would have had a meltdown. It would have been a war. So you can't. You got to do everything straight. Like I said, he's dripping evidence and information
the Prince. You
every
understand
day
all this
to slowly wake them up. And so that way, when it does happen and he does lock it down and he does round them up, they know and they understand why, and they don't think that they're the good guys anymore. But he can't dump it on them all at once.
How does he overturn it? It's not going to be votes.
Oh, so his so there's like his team says there's several different ways that he can win. One is now that all these audits are happening with the Dominion voting, that's a huge thing. That's enough to overturn as it is. And the Supreme Court will have to see that evidence and know that they program these machines.
Why do you think they have to see that evidence?
Because his legal team filed these cases with the Supreme Court. They're filed. Linwood and Sidney Powell are rogue for a reason because they don't have to follow the same.
I would not want.
They would do.
I would not Len. I'm sorry. I would not want Lynn after me.
Or Sydney.
Or Sydney or Rudy for that matter.
No, neither of the three of them.
Everybody thinks that Rudy's washed up.
Rudy took down the mob. Like,
All 5 families.
like, they're fucked.
And what happened was, I think that Trump gave him that spark again.
Yes.
You know, and
Mhm.
you know, because I mean, he's a beast, and I you know, believe me,
He's
I know
very smart
he
man.
took down all 5 families, and
Mhm.
he hit Connecticut and Chicago. I mean,
And he didn't get whacked. Let's point out the
and
most
he's still
important part.
yeah, he's still walking the fuck around.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to fuck with him.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean?
No.
Okay, so I think what happened with Trump was he took a liking to Trump,
Mhm.
and this sparked him.
Well, and the guy
that
that's
is
running New
not-
York,
See, I would make him attorney general.
the
if I'm
guy that's
Trump.
running New
Oh,
York
that
right
fucking
now
Fugazi Blasio.
is
His name
the
isn't even Blasio. You know, he's a Russian fuck.
well, no, not just De Blasio, but I call him De Blasio.
Yeah, he's a fucking Blasio.
Cuomo, they're
Oh, God,
destroying
Cuomo.
New York, and that has also lit a fire under Rudy.
Yeah.
So Rudy is part of the Trump legal team. Lynn and Sydney are not. They're rogue and they're doing their own cases. So they are basically coming at, the Supreme Court from 3 different angles, in a way. And the audits that are happening, all of it's good. So that's one way. The legislators, the congressional votes is another way.
How
What's
is
the
the
other
congressional votes another way? I've never heard that one before.
Because, like you said, there's more red states than blue states.
Oh, that's
if it goes down
that's
to
what it's called.
yes,
I'm sorry. I don't know
the
the
congressional.
actual term.
If it comes down to Congress voting, you have to vote down ballot. You are not allowed to vote opposite. So all the corrupt rhinos can't even vote Democrat if they wanted to save their own ass.
So how do you think it will actually play out? Do you think he'll extend the January 20th, or do you think he's going to come with the hit prior to that? No?
I think that report that supposedly has to come out by Friday, I think it already came out.
Is that the 23-page document?
The DNI. That's the DNI Director of National Intelligence report that must be turned in by December 18th per Trump's 2018 executive order regarding election interference or fraud.
Yeah, I did see that.
So this is what I tell people.
I got to read some too. Go ahead.
He knew in 2018 after watching the midterms, because the midterms were a fucking mess. They cheated during the midterms. So he's like, all right, I'm going to watch them and see what they do and learn their little tricks and just observe. And then he, 6 months later, put together the executive order with his team. So that was the end of 2018. So this is like 5D chess. They say that a lot. A lot of people don't know what that means. It means every move they could make, he is already 3 to 5 to 10 steps ahead of them. So he's already thought out, all right, I'm going to do this, and then they are either going to do this or this. And when they choose option A, these are the moves that we do. If they choose option B, here's the 3 moves that we have then. So it is a chess game like no one has ever seen.
And you think he's going to win it?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
I was trying to find, I can't find it, but I had a mayor, he's the ex-mayor of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And he went through this whole thing. I mean, some part of it, he's getting too emotional with, but he brought up that executive order that he made in 2018. Mm-hmm. And beyond the emotional part of what he said,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because he can use that now, right?
There's a video online of a civil rights attorney, a woman, and it's a 10-minute video, so pretty easy to digest. And she just breaks down the executive order, what it means, and what Trump probably was thinking when he did it, and that it's good news. It's all good.
So 100%.
I know that there's always a 1% chance that things could go bad.
Listen, you're giving me 99. I'll take 99.
But I know 90. that 1%, if the 1% happens and those people try to get in office and there's a war and we go to war in our own country, and then China will come in I know that that's the end. And I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that. Like, a lot of the shit that's been happening is all in the Bible. It's all end time stuff. We have the ability to choose our own destiny, so to speak, and Trump is a big part of that, of hopefully saving. It sounds really ridiculous to say that he's going to save humanity, but to be honest, him and the people connected to him that also want that, that's what they are truly trying to do. And he tweeted that the other day. I'm just trying to stop the world from killing itself.
I saw it. I actually did see that. I did see that. And see, what I think happened was...
It makes me sad.
Well,
because
yeah, I mean, it really is sad.
Because the people that hate him don't realize he might be a jerk on the outside, but his heart is huge.
Well, see, look, this is what I think happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't think he thought he was going to win. And when he won and he got in there and he saw the way I'm just telling you my opinion. Listen,
well, I can tell you what happened.
I'm not going to go against you.
I can tell you what happened in election night, the night that he won, and why the other side was like that, because they programmed everything to win, and then his guys went around and reprogrammed it the other way.
And beat their heads in.
But you can't say that on mainstream. Oh, Trump cheated. No, he undid their cheat, and that they thought was on lock. And then he was able to win, because a lot of patriots were waiting for Trump.
I think Trump was one guy when he walked down those stairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And then I think he got in there and I think he saw what was going on. And I think after probably 3 months, it changed him as a person.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't think he thought he was going to win. Maybe he did it for publicity, more people go to his hotel. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Trump doesn't play to lose.
But once he got in, okay, even if he didn't play to lose, I don't think he knew what the hell was really going on. Then he gets in there, he gets the information. Now he sees what's going on. I think that changed him. And I mean, you're the psychologist, whatever you want to call it.
So you're partly right. So before he ran, for years before he ran, he was being briefed on a lot of information, a lot of sensitive information. He knew how bad it was. He knew what they were into and what they were doing.
Yep. Because, he was on Howard Stern,
mm-hmm.
like probably years before he got in. And he said, look, we have to stop the China bullshit.
Right. Well, it's not just
and many
China.
other things.
Yeah, many other
I'm
things.
I'm just bringing one topic up.
Right.
Yeah.
So he knew a lot when he went in. And then once he was given, clearance access, whatever you want to call it, to sort of the rest of it, and he started being able to call the shots, he was already prepped and prepared when he got in office. He did know he was going to win, because there were certain people in the NSA that had been putting a plan together for him but when Obama was in office, when even before Obama, because they knew that if Hillary got back in and the CIA essentially won, because that's who she's controlled by, and the FBI.
Agreed.
That really would have been the end of us, like non-enslaved people of this country. That would have been the end of us if she would have got in.
I hope people watch this, because you're a girl on here now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just look at what he did. Forget about what he says. Look at what the fucking guy did. If you think that Biden, who doesn't even know what fucking day it is,
got 81 million votes,
more than Obama,
you need to get off the drugs.
The first black president.
That's what I would say.
I don't know what you're on, but it's something good. But you need to talk to you.
You know what I wanted to, if I had to say one thing about everything, just all encompassing, this is not about Biden versus Trump, Trump versus Hillary, red versus blue, Republican versus Democrat. This is literally good versus evil. And even though they're trying to make the guy who's trying to save you look like the evil one, like, hey, look over here because I'm messing this up over here. It's like that whole psychology thing. If they say look left, look right, because the establishment that has created all of the problems and has manifested all of the toxic shit in our society hates him and wants nothing more than him out, him in prison, or him dead. So if that's true, which it is true, it's very easy to see whether no matter what side you're on, then why would you jump on that as a human being, just a regular human being, regular civilian of this country or any country? Why would you jump on that bandwagon?
You need your head checked and just think what he has against him. It's not just like it's the Democrats versus the Republicans, right? He's got the Democrats against him. He's got the Clintons. He's got China. He's got snakes everywhere. He's got the lobbyists because he doesn't take the money. I mean, there's nothing more that could be against the guy.
Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada bowed to
yeah, he fucked him, that
President Z.
fuck.
He converted to Muslim or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Islam, sorry. And he is a complete globalist puppet sellout bitch.
I couldn't agree with you
Justin
anymore.
Trudeau is like, I feel terrible for Canadians.
But at first I thought that Justin Trudeau was a decent dude, didn't you? Or you read that right away?
He used to be, I think. But once they get to you, if you fold, if they threaten your family and you're like...
And that's the deep state, right?
And you're like, okay, yeah. Well, it's the deep state, it's China, it's
the combination.
So there's like the globalists is a good way of encompassing all of it. And then, you know, the deep state is the political and intelligence agency part of the globalists. Then you got the families that are in control of all the banks and all the money and Soros and all that shit. Then you've got
he's the dirtiest fuck out of them.
Then you've got the CCP, you know.
Who's the CCP?
Chinese Communist Party.
Oh.
Then you've got China, who the globalists want to make the world superpower because they're the experts in communism and enslaving people. So they're like, you're going to be the most powerful. We're going to take America down. We're going to put Hillary in. She's going to do whatever we want because we control her. And Trump came in and fucked the whole plan up. So I think, I mean, it's scary that our neighbor, you know, to the north is completely folded. Like, it's terrifying. I was thinking about this morning. What would I do if I had a family? Kids, husband, the whole thing. And I was in position of power. And the Chinese came to me and said, you know, this is your choice. Take this money, or, you know, I know where your kid goes to school, blah, blah, blah. You take this money, you do what we want. We're here to, you know, we're here to take over. We're going to basically, you know, subvert your government. And as cold as this seems, I wouldn't sell out the country for my family. I can think bigger than that.
But do you realize that that's one in probably a million?
Yes, I do.
And
that's part of the reason why I'm running for office.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that because I was going to say that that's one in a million.
I mean,
I'm sure they've already been told, the Supreme Court guys already. I don't think Kavanaugh would take it, only because they fucked him left and right. And who's the woman that got in that they tried to torture her?
Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett.
With all the adopted children.
Yeah, like you got 5 kids. What the hell are you gonna say about her?
I felt for her because I was adopted when I was 13, and I have like a multiracial family, and I was just like, this woman is so intelligent. She's so well spoken,
left and right.
And she did all these wonderful things. Oh, she's a white colonizer for adopting these kids. I'm like, what?
White colonizer?
Happening
the woman's running for Supreme Court and just.
No, but she adopted kids from Haiti. Right. She raised her own kids. Yeah. Her kids are successful.
And they still went after her. And they make calling off lies and bullshit and brought that girl in. She didn't even know what the hell she was talking about.
You cannot
makes me sick.
You cannot be conservative and do good things without the left attacking you. Because they don't have good intentions and they aren't inherently good, the people in power that are on the left. And so they always think that even if you're doing something good, like adopting kids from Haiti, you have a motive because they would have a motive.
Because they have a
So
motive,
you
right?
understand
Yeah.
how fucked up that is? That
Yeah.
they project their horrible motives, like Hillary's motive for getting involved in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation was to traffic children.
Now, you were saying on your website and Instagram
Mm-hmm.
about human trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
that you're like an advocate against
Right.
that. What are you doing against the human trafficking? I
So-
know it's like a huge thing.
So
but
I just started a Facebook page, and it was called Palm Beach Rise Up. And I just thought I would start a page so people could share information about Palm Beach County and different cases and things going on here and bring awareness and have people be safer in their neighborhoods and with their kids and school and everything. Well, it kind of like blew up a little bit, and it was during the time when there were some marches going on in other areas of the country. And I said, well, why don't we do a march and to bring awareness? And maybe, you know, I had a friend that worked for local news as a weather person. And I said, maybe she can have one of the guys come out and cover it and just kind of bring awareness to it. And so that's what we did. And the first march was a big success. And a lot of people came out, and it was covered on like 3 local news stations. They interviewed me. And it was great. It was awesome. And then through that march, I met some representatives from oh God, now it's escaping me. Operation Underground Railroad, which is run by Tim Ballard. He is an ex, I want to say SEAL, maybe Marine. Can't think of it right now.
Ex-military of some sort, right?
You know, yeah, special ops type of guy.
Special forces type
He
thing?
started a foundation that, well, turned into an operation and is now one of the largest organizations that has like active stings and operations that go and rescue human trafficking victims. So that was great. So I'm connected with them now. I have, you know, meetings with them monthly basis, and we try to do different events, and there's different, you know, there's different ways to get involved. So I've been trying to put that out there to people in my community. If you want to volunteer, if you want to explore what positions they need or, you know, how you can help, here's a way for you to do that.
And what, they go to your Facebook? Is that what it is?
Yes.
And what's your Facebook?
So the page...
And text it to me so I can put it in the description.
Yeah, the page that I started is just called Palm Beach Rise Up. Palm Beach County Rise Up? No, just Palm Beach Rise Up, I think. I'll have to look.
You'll send it to me though, right?
Yes, I'll send
put
it to
in
you.
there, yeah.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. It's...
Now, do you think all these celebrities were really involved in it? Or do you think it's like half bullshit, half fugazi?
I would say out of all of Hollywood, I would say 80 to 90%.
Like Tom Hanks, you think he was involved in that?
Yeah.
Lady Gaga?
Oh, 100%.
Really? Lady Gaga?
Real interesting
That
story
one threw me off.
real interesting story about Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga started out and was not hitting. She was not landing the charts. She was not doing well. And they gassed her up and thought that she would, and she wasn't. And Marina Abramovic, who is the high priestess that you know, has been connected to all of the ritual stuff, took Lady Gaga out to the woods, where I don't know, stripped her naked, and left her there in the middle of nowhere for a week.
And this is 100% real. This really
Until
happened.
this was told to me by someone who is in the industry.
Wow.
She broke her down. I mean, she was starving. She had no, I mean, she was literally like a wild animal, like curled into a ball when they found her, when they went to get her after a week. So they left her there, and supposedly, you know, it's to mentally break you. And then Marina Abramovic rebuilt Lady Gaga through satanic ritual and built her a new personality, and that's when she became a superstar.
Now,
so she has an alter ego.
Now, does this like relate to like the deep state of why like you never hear about
The
this?
deep state is more CIA, FBI, politicians. That's like the people that are in government. We'll just say government. This stuff is just the cabal.
The cabal.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I believe some of it. I mean, doesn't that fuck you up, Rob?
Someone explained it. Someone explained it to me like this yesterday, and
that's crazy, right,
and
Rob?
it made so much sense. There's 8 billion people on the planet, right?
Yeah.
So let's say 3% are corrupt. Okay, what's 3% of 8 billion? I think it's
What's 3% of 8 billion?
I was bad at math on that too.
So 10%. So it would
3%
be
of 100,000.
It would be like
it's quite a few people.
it'd be like 4 million people. Let's
Right.
just say somewhere in there, 3 to 4 million. And then 2% of that are satanic. So 2% of like 3 or 4 million, that's what?
Again, not good at math. I don't know if the
Come on,
calculator
calculator.
Come on,
here.
Rat.
I wish
Come
I
on,
could pull it
Rob.
up on my phone, but it's on airplane mode.
What are the numbers I'm using here?
What is it?
You said 3% of 8 million.
3% of 8 billion.
8 billion?
Billion, because there's 8 billion people on the planet. Anyway, they broke it down. They're like, if there's 1 million people on the planet out of 8 billion, which 1 million is not a lot compared to 8 billion. It's
Right.
very small. That are inherently evil and possibly involved in satanic. Is that really that hard to believe? Is it
No.
really that hard to believe?
No, I believe it.
When there's
No.
videos, when there's pictures, when there's people that will tell you they worship Satan, is it
Yeah.
really that hard to believe?
No.
So if there's 1 million of them and a portion of that million are in power, positions of power, or Hollywood, why is that hard to believe? Out of 8 billion people. Like, I think it's hard for people to even understand how much 8 billion is, but it's 1,000 million.
Did you figure it out, Rob?
My calculator only goes up
Oh
to
my.
800
That's so
million.
funny.
It
You
won't
got to
let me
turn it
know.
sideways. It's a trick.
Okay, well, let me
You got to turn it
She's
sideways.
just teaching it. She's schooling me to death.
800. This
He's
is
so funny. I'll find the little
Yeah, no,
breakdown that I have.
I know that, you
But
know,
anyways.
it's killing you like it's killing me too.
It put it in, like, I believed it already, but when I read it that way, I'm like, that's extremely believable.
And
It's
where do you find that at though?
Where do
Like,
you find what?
like about Lady Gaga, because I believed in Tom Hanks and these other assholes, but Lady Gaga I had a tough time with. I was
So,
like,
I mean,
don't know about that one.
I have friends that are I have a lot
Yeah.
of friends that are ex-military.
Gotcha.
I have a couple friends that are ex-intelligence. I have
You
I
heard
also-
from a very reliable
well,
source, is what you're telling me.
I also follow people who are reliable sources who, you know, they might not have public pages on Instagram, but they have a way of sharing information with people that want it. You know, like they have private pages, they're on different platforms like Parler. And, you know, if you go on the dark web, there's things on there that I would never recommend anyone to go on the dark web unless
I've
you
never
are
been
so brainwashed that you have to see something grotesque and horrible and traumatizing to make you change your mind. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you have to, then you have to. I had to, because I'm the type of person where I could read whatever report, I can hear Alex Jones talk about it, whatever, but when I first got red pilled, I wanted to see.
Red pill, that's so funny.
I wanted to see.
What's the number, Rob?
I need a calculator, Tommy. You guys
Alright,
need a calculator.
Fuck him, he just
We need a-
lost.
we need a
You
calculator.
lost.
Yeah,
You lost.
That's a loss.
So
Here, you know what? I bet you if she beats you in 2 seconds on this,
This is not good.
not good.
Here.
Your salary just went down here.
No, I got it.
Oh, you got it.
So, hold on.
8.
Oh, no, mine's not doing it.
See?
Here.
My thing only
That's
goes up to
weird.
800 million. I turned it sideways. I can't get it to do it. We don't have calculators anymore. We use our phone. But I
No,
can't
you
do
used to
it.
be able to turn it sideways and it would go to more of like a scientific looking
It's
thing.
probably the update. So you buy the app and then you
Oh,
pay
this
for
is
the app to make it
terrible.
cool, and then
So
I mean,
whoever's watching the video should just comment and tell us the answer.
Aha!
Yeah.
See? You have to open the screen and then it does it.
oh, you just got crushed, buddy.
Lost.
Don't worry, I've been getting crushed left and right here.
That's That's awesome.
I mean, I'm getting my head beat in over here.
This is
Everything I thought I knew, I didn't know
my
anything.
mind is all over. the
Okay.
place.
So
Your
three
mind, so is my
3%.
mind.
So 3% are corrupt or whatever out of everyone in the world, and then 2% are evil. It's 4,800,000.
4.8 million, basically.
4.8 million. So
That's a shit ton of people.
so they said evil or corrupt, and then they said 1%. Hold on. That's not right either. Now you guys are going to make me look this up because it's going to drive me crazy.
We need some-
That's why I knew I was trying to get it out of Rob, but Rob just happened to have a calculator.
Yep, now I'm going to have to look it up.
What's 1% of 8 billion?
math. I did major math is my worst
Go on that
subject.
computer right there and
My-
type
my
in
worst subject
on the
is
Mac
math.
Air. Type in what is 1% of 8 billion. Right? We're all OCD here.
Yeah, now we're
So
like.
now we have
now
to
I
know
just wanna
we're
look it
off
up,
track.
because I know I posted
He'll
it.
have it in 2 seconds.
Well, I know. I
8% of one. Yeah. Right here.
What is it?
It's 1% of 8 billion.
1% of 8
Oh, you know what?
billion.
I can't do it. I'm on airplane mode.
It looks like it is 80 million. 80 million.
Yeah, but that's not right. They broke it down more than that. I remember that it turned out to be about 1 million people. However, they broke it down.
I hate math. I do hate math.
So like I said, let's just say it's 1 million people.
Yeah.
1 million people in power that are evil is enough to really fuck some shit up in the world.
Well, let's just say it's 10 billion to keep our OCD, right? That would be 100 million people, right?
No. It's definitely when I read it, it broke down to this is how many are corrupt, this is how many are evil, this is how many are actually satanic, and it was like 1 million people, 1 million to 2
Fucking
million,
nuts.
1 million to 2 million people, but that know how to get in power, know how to manipulate power. That's fucking scary. And let's say that out of 2 million evil people, each of them does 1 satanic sacrifice a year. Do you know how many people that is? It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a
Don't
lot.
ask me.
If we had the right calculator
Don't
here, Rob,
ask
we
me.
would know, but
Don't
we
ask
don't.
That's okay.
Okay, so you're going to run for city council? Is that what you're going to do? Or what are you going to do? State
No.
council.
I'm not running for city council.
What are you running for? I didn't read too much because I wanted to ask you so you could tell me. You know
I
what I mean?
have not posted this or anything.
If you don't want to talk about it, it's fine.
No, it's fine. I am running for state senate.
State senate, really?
Right.
Oh, you're a good
So there's
person to know.
So there's a different
You're tough. You're tough.
a lot of people don't know this. There's tons of state senators in Florida. There's tons of House reps in Florida. Only 2 House reps and 1 senator get chosen out of your state, depending on the size, varies, to represent you in the U.S. House of Representatives. So like right now, our reps are Matt Gaetz, who I love. He's great, super patriot. And what's the other guy? Christie, maybe? No.
So when you go through this, okay, so when you make your move, what's the process that you go through to get the shot at achieving your goal here?
So I have a friend who, my best friend, her mom is a campaign manager. So she's helped other people with, political campaigns in the state of Florida, etc. So the main thing is you educate yourself. So that's what I'm doing now, because 2022 is when our next election is. So I need a good year to do my research. I want to make sure I'm very well versed. I'm educated. I brush up on my civics, brush up on my Constitution. I like to be prepared. I don't want to go in and have any reporter or any challenger to aha me. I want to go in there and just knock them down.
So 2022 is when that's your goal, to make this move then?
Yes.
Okay, so keep going.
So I get prepared. I make sure that my ducks are in a row. And then I start, putting together I think they call it, it's not starter funds, I forget.
Like a GoFundMe?
Seed money. That's what they call it.
Seed money?
So
Okay.
that's like to start, you know, hiring like your campaign manager, someone to do, you know, your press stuff, like a media manager. So you got to build like a little team. I'm actually reading up on political campaigns right now.
So kind of like how to build that team correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, what does that cost? Or you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
No, I
'cause it
have
might
no
not be the
idea.
right-
Everything varies. So it depends on how big your state is. Depends on what kind of team you end up hiring. It depends on tons of different things. Some people can win on a very small campaign budget if there's not a lot of challengers, and some people need a much bigger budget. So
You just have to figure out what you need at that point, right?
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, you're a bull.
The good thing is I have a lot of well-connected
Associates,
supporters.
Supporters,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people that are very successful and that share my viewpoints on, you know, how things should be run.
Well, when you win, you got to promise you'll come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a
for sure.
bull. You're a bull.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody can do it, it's you.
Yeah.
You don't blink.
No.
She's tough, man. Ooh.
When she wins, we get a calculator.
Yeah, calculator.
Can we get a real calculator?
Yeah, there's a guy that actually the campaign manager I was talking about, that's my friend's mom. The guy that's currently in the incumbent, I guess you would call him, is she wants him out. Everybody wants him out, apparently. So she's like, yes, I'll help you. So,
No, you can do
so
it.
that's great.
You can do it. Just sitting here,
Yeah.
you have no idea how many people I met. Just sitting here with you for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. Believe me, you're a bull. If anybody can do it, you can do it. You're tough.
I think that
You're a strong woman.
I think anyone can do anything they set their mind to if they don't
I
allow
agree with you.
if they don't allow doubt and fear and insecurity to make them question themselves. Like, you can do anything.
But see, I like your philosophy on your webpage.
Mhm.
You know, even though you might go and be this big shot, you know, council person, whatever the hell you call it, you know. But what you have on your webpage is really good stuff. It really is. Because I've had anxiety. I know a ton of my friends had, and I started reading through it. Like, you can ask Rob. I read through every page.
Mhm.
And I was like, damn. And then, you know, you can kind of start to put things in perspective. So
Yeah.
I hope you don't fully
the
let
blog
that
I had
part
was
go.
good. No, I won't, because like I said, victimhood and feeling insecure and being manipulated and all of that can happen in any capacity. It could happen in your personal life. It could happen with, you know, the news and the media and the establishment and the stuff that they're like feeding you all the time. Those things, this is all connected. So the fact that I understand psychology, the fact that I understand people, the fact that I care about people and I care about them not staying in that victim mentality and staying in that sort of dependent blame game, not in the driver's seat, you know, poor me, daddy government take care of me mindset. It's just a pivot. You know, I still care. I still want to be that person that, like, I want to go talk to everybody in my district, you know, before I run and say, what are your pains? What are you? And then my response is going to be, what are you in control of? And then what can I do to help?
You'll win. If you want to, if you put the time in, you'll win. You'll win, because I read I'm telling you, I read every fucking page. And
I get a little intense in some of those blogs.
See, I don't think it's intense.
No.
No.
Well, it's very real.
I think it's that if you want to change, right, and you want to be a different person, you'll read all of it. If you don't, then you'll read a paragraph or two and move on, and you don't want to deal with them anyway.
Right.
But somebody who's looking just for like an outlet, you know, to try to figure themselves out.
Sort through.
Yeah, and they might read part of it today, part of it tomorrow. But if they read your webpage, I'm telling you, it's fucking good. I had anxiety for a long time.
Yeah.
Like bad.
Yeah.
You know, and all my friends do. I mean, I don't think I have one friend that doesn't have it, other than Rob. But my old friends, I should say, have it. They'll have it. you know, and it's really good. So how can somebody get a hold of you right now, or if they want to donate when you start when you get your base,
Right.
okay, and you're ready to make the run.
So
Right now you're educating yourself, then you're going to make the
Right.
run.
So
So
the best thing
how
to
can we find you?
The best thing to do now is find me on social media, because all my updates, I'm going to start there. And then, like I said, once I get my bearings, I'm going to redo my website and everything. I'm not going to get rid of the blog. I'm just going to move it. Because, you know, I do like my writing. You know, I enjoy writing. I want to start writing.
Did you write that whole webpage?
Yeah.
That was all you're writing?
Yeah.
Oh. I was going to ask that, but then I was like, maybe I shouldn't ask it just in case it was somebody else.
No,
That's very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
So yeah, find me on social media. So Gabby_Fox_ on Instagram, on Twitter.
You weren't easy to find on Instagram because
No.
it was like black Gabby Fox, Fox, that Fox.
I'm shadow banned. So,
but your webpage came up right away.
So what I'm going to be changing my page to will be a different handle, so it'll stand out more and not get mixed in with all the other Gabby Foxes. And I'll let everyone know before I change it.
Send it to me because I can update the description and everything
So
else.
on Facebook, gabbyfox.official, if you're looking it up on like a web page, or even if you type it in the search.
And how do you spell Gabby?
Gabby.
Gabby Fox.official.
On Facebook. That's my like follow page that you can follow. And then like I said, Instagram is Gabby_Fox_.
But you're gonna change that anyway, though.
So is Twitter, yeah. And then I'm on Parler. Parler is completely unbiased, completely uncensored.
I keep hearing about this.
Gabby Fox on Parler. On Parler, just Gabby Fox. That's the best place because I'm gonna post all the updates of what I'm doing in each step of the way, and then yeah, so people can support or share, or you know, even just sharing information is a great thing right now. And I post a lot of information about what's going on in the world with the vaccines, with COVID, with Trump, with the election. Just I'm constantly posting.
What do you think about the vaccine?
On my story. You should know what I think about the vaccine by now, but I will never take a vaccine for the rest of my life.
Me neither.
I'll die on that hill.
To be honest with you, I know people that got autoimmune diseases.
The people that make the vaccines, so I should rephrase, the people that control the people that make the vaccines are horrifically evil.
I agree with you.
And I'm not scared of something that has a 99.95% survival rate. I have an amazing immune system. I take all the vitamins. I get at least 10 minutes of sun a day, just walking around doing errands, whatever. Vitamin D is something that almost everyone that got very sick from COVID, vitamin D deficiency, is something they had in common. So I would say,
what vitamins are you taking right now to try to fight off the COVID?
I take a multivitamin. If I feel a little tired or a little something, even in the very beginning, I take an emergency, which is packed with vitamin C. I'll take an extra vitamin D, calcium combo supplement, and I'll take a zinc.
Why the calcium?
Vitamin D and calcium is just something that goes together.
Is it like a transporter?
I don't know. They always.
I never heard that. I always heard vitamin C, vitamin D.
Vitamin D3 has calcium.
Zinc.
For women anyway. Maybe it's a
maybe it's different. Thing. Yeah. And then there's something else.
The zinc is actually the thing that carries or allows the absorption, so you want to make sure that you take some zinc.
Right, because because when you take the vitamin D with the vitamin C and the virus hits, the zinc is what opens up that cell,
right,
so that it can allow the absorption to fight it off. Correct?
Yes, and I'll tell you, this is my secret. Way before COVID, I used to get sick maybe 3 times a year, and very mildly. I don't do hard drugs. I don't do pharmaceuticals. I maybe take a little bit of Advil once a month for obvious reasons. And I have been eating organic since I was 23 as much as possible, as much as humanly possible, when it wasn't even cool back then because I'm an old lady. The more chemicals, preservatives, and bullshit you put inside your body, the less your body can do what it's naturally meant to do.
AKA pesticides? Is that kind of what you're referring to?
All of it. Well, anything
processed,
anything with preservatives, I don't drink an ounce, not even a drop of artificial sweetener in probably 15 years. And I'm healthy as a horse.
I'm glad you didn't take a monster drink that was sugar-free, because I would have got killed.
I don't.
And I really don't want somebody that's going to be in the Senate that wants to kill me. I got enough people.
No energy drinks. No, just a little bit of espresso once in a while if I'm just dying halfway through the day and I have to go to the gym or something.
I cannot believe. How did I have to ask? How the fuck did you meet Sean?
Oh, so
he's a great guy.
Sean was a blessing to me in a lot of ways. He was the first person, like I said, that I broke my cycle for, and he was not my type, and he was a kid when I met him. And this was only 3 and 4 years ago, but we met each other for a reason. I helped him excel to the next, probably through 3 levels, to be honest, and pushed him a little bit, to grow up. He's younger than me by 6 years. But he was a blessing to me because Sean is pure.
He's a very smart guy. He's a great guy.
His morals and his purity of heart is unlike no other.
I don't have one thing bad to say about him.
He's extremely smart. He's a big pain in the ass, but he's worth it.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. You guys are lucky to have each other. I'm happy you guys are together, because you're like the bull. And Sean's one that needs a little rattled once in a while. Sean's
young,
Yeah. He's a baby.
Sean will be Sean has been a force to be reckoned with, but when he fully, hits his time, he will be a force to be reckoned with too.
Oh, I know. He works hard.
Yeah.
I haven't known him that long, but I see that he works hard.
He does great.
Yeah, he does. He does
great.
So now, when you accomplish all this, you got to come back in.
Yeah.
All right?
I will.
All right. Thank you so much for your time,
You're
Gabby.
welcome.
Thanks
for having me.
Thank you.